Mono Rants at the Movies, a podcast where we rant about films you may have seen at house parties. I'm one of your hosts and jack of all trades, Mono, and hiding behind a book of poems before I shoot her in the face is my co-host and master of none, Kira.
Oh yeah, no, I'm hoping Sylvia Plath will protect me.
Well, I might do better than Yeats.
Yeah.
It's a big thick book of Sylvia Plath's poems.
I'd rather have the writings of Constance Markovich.
I'd rather either of them than Yeats, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
As I discussed, I have an issue with that particular poem. You were like, criticising Yeats. Yes, I was.
Yeah, well, it could be worse. It could have been Ulysses, like.
What were we saying, like, with the most inappropriate book possible for him to have, or like the most inappropriate music for him to have would have been like, you said WAP, I said Hey Mickey.
Yeah, when he's listening to Beethoven, it'd be really funny if it was like, gangster rap or something like that, getting all emotional about it.
If instead of like the Yeats book, he had, I don't know, like the novelisation of Blade, and he looks at Partridge and goes, some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
50 Shades of Grey.
But yeah, no, we are talking Equilibrium today.
Yes, interesting film, interesting concept.
Yes, definitely. I have a couple of issues with it, perhaps more so than I normally would with a film that we recover, but I still really, really enjoy it. Like,
no, it is. It's very pretty. Everyone remembers the gun kata, because that was such a huge part of it, but I really like the whole trying to suppress emotion to make a society.
I could actually care less about the gun kata, to be honest with you.
It's pretty, but
it looks kind of cool when it's in use, and I like the explanation behind it when they give the explanation. But there's a couple of shots, particularly that opening shot during the narration where you see him doing the like...
when he slides in on the door?
No. When it's literally just the opening narration and you see somebody doing the like, big martial arts hand movements, but they've got the guns in their hand.
Yeah.
And it just looks so fucking cheesy.
It was like Tai Chi, but with weaponry.
Yeah, it just... I can never shake the feeling when watching this that Kurt Wimmer, isn't it? Who came up with it. That it was just something that Kurt Wimmer came up with and was like, this is the coolest thing ever and everybody's going to think it's so cool and I'm going to put it in my movie.
The fight coordinator was trained in very traditional karate. Kurt Wimmer wanted to be like really fluid and moving, whereas the motions, when you actually see them later on, it's very like choppy and blunt. Like sharp movements when they're moving through the kata later on when there's the whole group of them, and it's very much like karate where it's definite movement. But
again, I think sometimes there's like there at the start when it is more choppy and like less fluid, then in the fights towards the end it is getting more fluid, and there's an awful lot of that.
The faster
in the movie
it seems to be,
with the more emotional he becomes, an awful lot of stuff changes in how the movie is presented, like with the blood, the amount of colour being used, and that sort of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of it as well. Yeah,
well, I always love when he stops dosing with the stuff and when he rips
that's
the
one
stuff
of my
off
favourite
the
bits.
window.
I really like that.
Just looking out, and it's the first time where you get really saturated colour and it's raining and he's crying, because Christian Bale in this is fantastic.
Yeah, him, and he's only in it for a bit, but Sean Bean is Preston.
No, Preston
or the other way around, sorry.
He's Errol thingy-mabobs.
Partridge.
Sorry,
yeah.
In the long tradition of Sean Bean dying within the first 15 minutes or something.
Yep.
This is one of my favourite Sean Bean deaths, though.
It's a great one.
Yeah.
It is a great one. And I just like how in that opening scene... Well, hang on, we should probably do a summary before we start going too in-depth. In the late 21st century, all human emotions are made illegal by the ruling tetragrammaton, and enforcing the law are highly trained and ruthless clerics. But when first-class cleric Preston has to kill his partner for sense offences, he starts to question everything his society has traded for a supposed end to war and suffering.
Yeah, is it an end to war and suffering when you're just suppressing everything and living in a highly militaristic, organised
society that kills everybody who dissents?
Where everyone's like almost identically dressed. It's all very utilitarian. You use a lot of like brutalist architecture, which is all heavy, concrete, communal areas. There's no personification.
No.
Everybody's reduced down. You're a little ant. You're a cog in the machine.
Yeah. What's one of the things that I really like about this is that the film is full of like kind of dichotomies and opposites that nearly work together, in the sense that you see this is a society that race and religion and sex and gender no longer matter.
No, it's all about emotion and feeling and the suppression of those.
At the same time, you think, oh yeah, that's a great, utopian society. There's no war. There's no division over race or gender or religion or anything like that. But then, equally, they are all supposed to be exactly the same. There's that bit later on where you hear Father talking about how they have enabled everybody to lead identical lives, and that sameness is so important. And I like you've got things like that, or like the fact that DuPont, the main bad guy, is clearly not on Prozium.
No, and neither is Father. When you see Father being like, you won.
Yeah.
You're the winner. It's like, well, you're clearly displaying emotion. How can you... It's like, yeah, this is your triumph. And it's like, but how can you celebrate a triumph if you don't...
Yeah.
It's like, tell my wife I said hello.
It's one of those things, and I know we've talked about it before. People? Yeah, no, but we've talked about it before, where if you're going to be an emotionless character, don't portray any emotions.
Yeah.
And it's something that annoys me a lot. And in this, there's a couple of bits where it crops up. Brant is a few times where Brant smiles and where Brant seems pleased with himself, or where he seems angry. But he's absolutely 100% on Prozium, so he shouldn't be.
Oh, yeah. He is a company man
but
through
DuPont,
and through.
It's clear he's not, because he gets visibly angry at points. And there's a point where he like runs his hand along the table, and Preston notices it, because it's not long after he had been running his hand along the... He's
missed the dose, and he's starting to feel things, and you get him taking his gloves off. There's a moment when he's coming up all the stairs, when that brilliant shot of everybody coming up the stairs, and it's all uniform.
Yeah, that's it. And he touches
He's the only person looking around.
And he touches the handle and kind of gets the feel of it. But then DuPont rubs his hand across the top of the rich mahogany table in much the same way. And he admits to it as well. He says, I feel, towards the very end. But then the flip side of him, you've got Jurgen as the head of the resistance, who is actively taking Prozium because it's better for his cause, because he has to hide. So it's like Prozium is the big, not problem, but it's the big thing that they're kind of fighting over. The Tetragrammaton want everybody to use it, and the resistance don't. But the head of Tetragrammaton isn't, and the head of the resistance is.
Yeah.
And I love that they've made it that bit more grey, and that you have all these kind of opposing views, and even just when they're worked in, like the whole thing about propaganda. Propaganda is designed to incite emotion.
Yeah, propaganda doesn't work.
So they shouldn't need the propaganda, but then even in the propaganda, they're saying things that would clearly be construed as negative. Like, he refers to Prozium as the opiate of the masses.
Yeah, but where you would...
Like, that's
never language that would normally be associated with something negative. Like, this is the...
Religion is the opiate of the masses, and that's why we need to get rid of it. Like, that's
something like an opiate, by definition nowadays, would be considered to be something that is negative. Like, you look at the opiate abuse crisis going on in the US at the moment.
In that context, whenever anything is referred to as the opiate of the masses, it's never supposed to be anything good, because you are drugging yourself so that you don't pay attention to more important things. Yeah. But here they're actively using that phrase as part of their propaganda.
Yeah, well, you get that wonderful bit where Preston says, I'm sorry to Partridge, and he says, you don't know what that is. It's just a vestigial word for a feeling you've never felt.
Yeah, and then he actually does apologise to him later on when he meets him onto the body.
Emotion,
but with genuine emotion. There's quite a few callbacks like that I like. But yeah, I just like that nothing is clear in that sense, and you get these kind of opposites that are sometimes working together and sometimes not where you'd expect them to be, because in a world with no emotion, things are going to get very complicated.
Yeah, how do you have, that's the thing that kind of confused me as well, is because they promote family, like, are you a family man? And he's like, yes, I have a girl and a boy. And it's like, well, why would you be married to somebody? Like, why are you having these shambles of the traditional family unit? Because aren't you fostering familial ties then?
I was saying before we recorded, I'd actually really liked it for this to become a TV show.
Yeah,
because you could dive into a lot more of those interesting things, because I think they nearly waste the clerics, because the clerics just kind of come across as like secret police.
Yeah.
And enforcers, but the bike helmet guys.
the grunts who are just like 50 cal, everything.
Why do you need the cleric?
Like when they go on the raid and they said, there's about 50 of them there. When they get there, the normal guys are just
tearing through it.
Yeah.
And like the clerics are super highly trained. So it's not like they're a black ops team that only gets sent in when you need, like a 2-man mission. We can't send in a full squad, because you nearly always see them with a full squad.
Yeah.
Whereas if the clerics had been... they do say it when you hear in the propaganda in the background that the clerics are trained to like hunt out EC10 material and destroy it and anybody who might be
they
responsible
seem to be there
So it's like they're like the leaders of the crews who are going out, but they're not the ones who seem to be finding it. Whereas I think if they were all supposed to be like Brant and like Preston, and that they were people who took Prozium but that could still sense and pick up on emotions much quicker than other people. Yeah, if that's
like
what
the kid pointing out people, because the little
you
evil
only focus on him
in
once.
This?
Yeah, so if there was something that the clerics were people who were just more in tune with emotions and easier able to recognize it, would have made it a little bit clearer and a little bit just served the film a little bit better. It's one of the few kind of criticisms that I have. It's like it's not 100% clear what the clerics do.
Yeah, the clerics are just kind of wasted. Like there seems to be a lot of them, but he's informed every time that they have to go on a raid. Yeah,
so he's not doing the research. He's not. It's just. I'm like, give me a little bit more about, flesh those clerics out a little bit more. Why are they so important? Yeah. Why are they more important than the bike helmet dudes?
I just find it really futile in a society that has no emotion to try and create what a society should be. From a traditionalist 1950s standpoint of like the nuclear family, yada yada yada, but the ties that bind those together are emotional.
They are, but you can't not have population growth as well.
Yeah, but would it not serve better to have, have the children be removed and raised within that if they're trying to create this sort of...
Well, see, I think that's one of the other things then where they're not really trying to create a new society. They're just trying to control
it, yeah.
And they are absolutely fascists. And fascists love tradition.
Oh, they do.
So
well, like you get a lot of imagery that's Stalinistic.
You
get Hitler, good old our boy Hitler over there.
Well, they only use imagery from fascist countries
and Saddam Hussein
and totalitarian countries.
Yeah,
because they've got like Tiananmen Square there as well. So it's only images from totalitarian companies.
I find it interesting that that they use the Tiananmen Square and they use the image of that gentleman standing in front of the tanks in the ultimate protest.
Yeah, of war. But yeah, it's just they're clearly a fascist society, but they're trying to kind of paint themselves. Well, not that they're trying to paint themselves as something different, but because all fascists do. But you still need family. You have to have population growth.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that it's arranged marriages and things like that.
It would be, because you wouldn't be able to form an emotional connection.
I would hazard a guess that it's almost like in Handmaid's Tale. You know, when Sydney Sweeney's character gets married off to Nick.
Yeah.
And she's supposed to serve him, but it's not supposed to be a loving thing. And
no,
they're only
she's
supposed to have sex once a month.
And have
to for the purpose of producing babies. So I'd imagine it's similar in that sense of you get given a partner, or because you're not going to connect with anybody because you've got no emotion. Yeah. So there's no reason to connect with somebody. So I'd say it is done in a...
Procreation must be super awkward.
But it wouldn't be because you're
it's
not...
a bodily fun, yeah.
No, but you're not feeling awkward or embarrassed because those are emotions.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't. And those are the things that I think are most fascinating about the film when they go into that, because there are things then as well that are not emotional drivers but hard to separate from emotions. So like ambition isn't an emotion, but it's directly tied to emotions. I would say, because you want to better yourself, or you want to get more things,
or you want to be the best,
or you want to be proud, you
want to elevate your status, but it's all driven by outside factors and by something within you that needs to achieve. Yeah,
so it's not directly an emotion, but it is intrinsically tied to emotion, and I like that I
like the fact that Mary confronts him about that and is like, so you continue your existence just to exist, and he's like, well then why are you here? And she's like, I'm here to feel and to love and to see and to smell and to experience all of these things.
I really, really, really like the line where in that scene where she's saying that what your existence is just to continue your existence, a cyclical existence like that is, she's like, or when you're living like that. I can't remember exactly how she leads into the line, but the line is, breath is just a clock ticking.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fantastic line.
I really like Mary.
Oh, she's great.
She just, the fact that she's this soft little delicate woman, but she stands up to them because she has the strength of her beliefs and her experience behind them.
Yeah, she's really great. And
she reminds me a lot of Stephen Fry in V for Vendetta when he shows her his Natalie Portman's character.
Yes, yeah.
The room, and he has the Quran, and she's like, why do you have all these things? And religion is this, and he's like, I have them because they are beautiful. And beauty like this should be preserved.
Yeah.
Without it, we lose all state.
But even his relation to her, because the first time I watched this, I was like, he gets awful obsessed with her awful quick. But then
he sees his wife in her because he missed his wife being a sense offender.
I don't even think it's that. It's he was with his wife. She clearly felt emotion for him, but he didn't feel any emotion for her because
she lays a smacker on him.
Yeah, and even they're like, get her off him.
Get her off him, and he's like, what do I do?
But I always was like, he gets obsessed with her really quickly, but this is the first time he's feeling emotions of any kind. Yeah. So they're all going to be overwhelming. So yeah, he sees a pretty woman and he's like, I love you.
But also she can give him answers.
Well, she can, but...
And then when you get the additional thing of her being linked to Partridge, and he's like, well, I worked with this person and I didn't know this was all going on, and you lived with him and you can tell me, because he does ask about him.
He's like, tell me about him.
Tell me about what sort of a person he was. Which, up until that point, I don't think he'd even considered that being a question.
Well, it's not, because they're all effectively the same person.
Yeah.
And I love that bit when he rearranges his desk.
I'm just trying to optimise.
But it really drives that point home. If he sits down and it's early on when after he stopped taking stuff, he looks around and everybody's exactly the same.
Cubicle when everything's set up the exact same.
It's when that propaganda is playing in the background of how everybody is now allowed to be the same. We have created this society where sameness is important. And he's like, no, I just don't like this. I don't want to be like everybody else. And he starts moving his stuff around. And it's great. And then yet the way he deflects from that is... It's one of his better deflections, because sometimes he's not hiding his emotion that well.
Oh God, no.
But there he's just like, no, I'm just trying to optimize.
Yeah, because this came out in 2002, so this would have been like kind of post the grunge movement and the real kind of counterculture of the 90s, where almost everybody was different.
Yeah.
Like, it was that whole breakout where everyone was like, well, I'm not. It kind of started in the 80s. Like,
60s.
You had the love children of the 60s. Yeah. But they all kind of reconformed.
Well, yeah, I was just about to say that it got to the stage where nearly non-conformity was the new conformity.
Yeah, we were all weirdos. And then you've got this, which is looking at a society where everybody has conformed to a terrifying degree. And that's always especially if you read a lot of like any books that are like not post-apocalyptic, but dystopian future, there's always that conformity to the main.
Oh, well, again, that's such a classic fascist trope. You know what I mean? Of we all have to be this way, and if we're not all this way, it's bad.
Because this has a lot of like 1982. Big Brother is always watching
84.
you. Yeah. I keep getting dates wrong today. I don't know. But yeah, in 1984, where you have you're not allowed to have free thought or anything like that. And this whole idea that...
Well, just the term sense offence is great. I love it as well, because it's not like emotion offence would have been an easy one to go for. Yeah, but a sense offence. Because I do love that when they arrest Mary, she's wearing her dress is like a burgundy velvet, which is a really luxurious, rich fabric. When you look at all the rest of them, they're in very utilitarian uniforms that are all the same, and... All the fabrics are they're not shiny or flashy or look at me. I got mad, like, witchy vibes off her.
Yeah, all the hairstyle. There's a great shot where when he's waiting to go, when he drops the towel, and all the women have the same hair. It's all up in that shigong.
Yeah.
It's all very neat, very tidy. Everybody looks the same, and her hair is down. It's in her face.
It's all wispy. But I got witchy vibes off her. And I don't know whether or not it was intentional.
No, Emily Watson, it would look...
Oh, she looks... No, I know she looks like that anyway. But no, just
she would be a goddess here.
Velvet dress and stuff like that. I don't know if it was intentional or not, or maybe I'm reading too deep into it, but traditionally women historically who were seen as witches were healers, were women who were independent, who had knowledge that either men didn't have or women weren't supposed to have.
And a lot of it was feared then because women, herbologists in particular, the women who made potions, things like that.
They were healers.
You also have a vast knowledge of
poisons too.
Because you have to know that. So they were feared from that because they knew what could kill you without you not knowing about it.
It was a forbidden knowledge
Juliana Tofana. One of my heroes.
But it was a information and control kind of thing.
Yeah, which is why when the 1600s, when they started the witch hunt, a lot of them were healers.
Oh yeah. But this is nearly, I see parallels there between that and Mary, because Mary is a sense offender and she feels and
she revels in it. Well.
And it is.
She doesn't try and hide it from anybody else.
It's almost like a kind of a gleeful, not rejection, but resistance. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't stop me. I'm going to continue to feel.
I'm still going to do it. There's absolutely nothing you can do about this.
But she figuratively kind of casts a spell on him as well, because he becomes somewhat obsessed with her, and I just get witchy vibes from her, and I think it works. I think it really works because of that historical aspect of witches being women who had knowledge that they either weren't supposed to or people felt they weren't supposed to, kind of thing.
Well, it wasn't that they would share their knowledge, but it was always one of those things where it kind of was confined to women because
I'm not saying that they hoarded the knowledge, quite the opposite. But that was knowledge that they traditionally weren't supposed to have, which was why they were viewed as other and then witches. Whereas
they used to be extremely your healer was an extremely highly valued member of your society. And then as men became more prevalent and men decided that only they were the only ones allowed to be doctors and have access to all this, and we can't have these women running around getting plants out of the forest, even though we've used it traditionally for centuries, and they're the only people who can safely deliver a child. Instead of making them women lie on their fucking backs for a whole room to see that the child came out of her.
I am firmly of the opinion, and it was something that was pointed out by Sandy Toksvig on QI, that a lot of ancient societies used to be matriarchal. And as soon as men realised that they had some part to play in the creation of babies, and it wasn't just women. They got all
uppity about it.
They got all uppity about it, and suddenly you have patriarchal societies that are all about lineage and, not having bastards. And
we got around that in a really fun way. Basically, because in Irish history, it wasn't any children produced of a marriage. It was any children produced after an engagement.
But it's just...
And it didn't matter if it was your kid or not. If you were engaged to her, you were then responsible for that child.
But I'd say that cut out a lot of bullshit. And in Ireland at the time, women had a much higher standing.
We had 10 types of marriage, and one of them, men had the land and women had the chattel. So women weren't allowed. Well, you did get women with land as well, but women were rich in cattle.
And men were rich in land.
So, you had, and I always had this wonderful image of these women
just roving the countryside with
herds of cattle. I just think it's fantastic. But we also had
who will give me land for my cattle?
The third type of marriage was of equal property, which was recognised here.
I'm firmly of the opinion that the change from matriarchal to patriarchal societies was, and still always is, about control of women. Because women, a female-led society would probably be a lot better than a male-led one.
Look at how New Zealand handled the pandemic under a female prime minister.
It's just...
Look at how any of the countries with female leaders during the pandemic, their response to it was extremely compassionate and extremely reasonable. And
I just think that part of the reason that patriarchy tries so hard to keep women down is because as soon as women realise that, no, actually, we probably are the better ones to be running society, they will want to run society and they should be allowed to run society. So we can't let them know that.
Look at Angela Merkel. She did a fucking amazing job for years and years and years.
I can't even remember how I got onto this, but it ties back into the movie because it is, I think... I'm just trying to weave back into the movie now because I can't remember how I started on this tangent.
There's no women in power. There's none in the clerics. There's none that you see out on the field with law enforcement.
But it's also it's that fear of just that one crack of if you stop taking your interval once.
You have to take it twice a day, and that fucking eerie shot of everybody stopping and injecting themselves, and I was like, that can't be sanitary for one thing. It's like, ew, sterilisation processes, please, people. But that absolute control, it never works.
No. And you see it obviously in this because...
Like, historically, it's never worked. Any time where anyone has tried to have absolute control over anything, it's always fallen apart.
Well, every empire falls.
Every empire falls.
Every empire that's ever existed has fallen, and it's normally been as a result of actions of the empire itself, as opposed to outside forces.
Yeah.
But while we're kind of on the subject, I also love all the religious imagery.
So much of it mixed in there, because they seem to have gotten rid of religion as...
Obviously.
But they worship the Tetragrammaton, and they
still use all the processes of religion.
Yeah.
But they don't use religion, because again, religion is intrinsically tied to emotion.
Yeah.
I would say.
If you don't have a fear of the thing, how will you do the stuff? Well, no, like, you can look at...
Well, not even fear, but like...
But that's always, like, a lot of religions are based either... Like, they are supposed to be based in love and principles of love, but they're all weaponized as... Like, we had it here in the 50s, the fire and brimstone priests.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and how many
Father
wars?
Jack Hackett thinking back about his days teaching when he was like, and you'll burn in hell!
Exactly. But also, I mean, how many wars were started over religion, and they wanted an end to war, so obviously religion was going to be
look at what's going on at the minute.
Religion was going to be on the chopping table. Yeah. But I love how they've kept this religious imagery throughout.
Even just the name Tetragrammaton.
And they are clerics.
Which is a very, very, like, that's a word that you would not know unless you have studied religion. Because it's Yahweh. It's the YHWH. Yeah. That's the Tetragrammaton. Yeah. Like, they could have called things... I'm actually amazed they didn't pull out Septuagint and words like that aren't... Unless you were aware of theological texts and theological language, you wouldn't know what these are for. Even calling them clerics.
No, I don't. I think I think they probably chose Tetragrammaton on purpose.
Yeah, no, it's a cool word. I'll give you that.
It's a cool word, but I don't think
it's an alchemist type word as well. So you're bringing in older traditions.
But also, if you do know a bit about it, you know that Tetragrammaton was. Actually, you know that YHWH is it's the form of God's name that you're not supposed to pronounce.
You can say Yahweh.
We can say Yahweh because we're atheists. We can say whatever we want. But Yahweh was the word they're not supposed to say. That they being Jewish people use Elohim and another term that I can't remember, but they won't use Yahweh, or at least back then. And I think that was a cool choice because obviously the unspoken thing here is feeling emotions. Yeah. But I love then even just the constant T's. Like the Tetragrammaton symbol is
taken the top off it.
Well, the Tetragrammaton symbol is 4 T's that make a cross shape, and there's loads of T windows around the place.
And you get the muzzle flares.
It's four specifically separate parts. Yeah. And again, Tetragrammaton, Yahweh, YHWH is made up of 4 things. Yeah. I love all that religious imagery in there, and that they've made a religion out of not feeling emotions, basically.
Yeah, that's what they worship now.
Yeah, Prozium is the god. Like, but as ever in these things, as they happen in real life, the people at the very top are not in it because they believe it. They're in it because they want control and power for themselves, evidenced by DuPont pretending to be father, and clearly not taking Prozium.
And all the artwork.
He's got artwork all in his...
He's got, like, when the first time that you come across him, he's got the big statue of Atlas. And I was like, that's a bit weird, but okay, maybe it was a bit too heavy to move. But then he's got very rich, sumptuous furniture. Yeah. Like, the furniture is not utilitarian the way everybody else has just a standard thing. Like, it has... Even though it's not overly ornate... Yeah. It's still nicer than everybody else has. It still has craftsmanship in it. It has these details that if you were just producing for a utilitarian, if these were just to do the thing, you wouldn't put effort into it.
No, well, everything would look like it does outside.
Everything would be...
bare concrete blocks. And
everything would just be mass-produced and functional. You've never watched the Divergent series.
No.
But there's the way they've broken them down, instead of raising all emotion, they're split into the 5 factions. And
so whichever emotion you feel the strongest puts you into that faction?
Well, no, it's kind of whatever way your personality is. So you've dauntless, erudite, there's an agricultural type one.
So every time I hear the word erudite, it reminds me of...
Candor is another one.
Oh, I do, erudite just reminds me of Flight of the Conchords.
But there's the faction that she's in, they're very, very humble, they're very modest, they don't have mirrors, and when you look at the way their houses are set up, they are very modest, but they still have little homey touches in them, so they haven't ever gotten rid of the full... You can't erase that. Yeah. But like they're allowed to look at a mirror once a month to like cut their hair and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And that all. disintegrates. That it turns out that whole thing is a social experiment to try and get society back on track because they've lost their way.
That was a thing. Wasn't Maze Runner the same in that it was a social experiment to help fix the world?
Yeah.
Like there was a whole bunch of them that were like, oh, this is a dystopian future. But actually what you're experiencing is not the dystopian future.
You're actually in
It's an experiment of part of a larger dystopian future that's trying to fix itself.
Yeah. Their whole thing is that if they get people who are displaying 2 or 3 of these personality types, the people that they call divergent, that they'll be the new leaders of the world and they'll be able to fix the problem because they're not so straight-laced and focused on their one thing.
Yeah.
You need to be able to see the whole spectrum. It's being able to see the forest for the trees.
Like. Yeah. And that's where Jurgen is.
Yeah.
Jurgen is, and I love Jurgen's speech.
William Fichtner.
Oh, William Fichtner's great.
You don't get enough William Fichtner. You'll miss him in this.
Well, you get more of him in this than you even realise because
you miss him at the start walking through that opening sequence when he's sitting there clapping with everybody.
That was the first time I spotted him, but on second watch, just as the little weird kid points out what you assume is a sense offender, he just kind of disappears out of the crowd.
And if you don't know who William Fichtner is, he is the guy who comes out in The Dark Knight going, do you know whose bank this is?
William Fichtner is our favourite that guy.
Oh, he really is. That whole bit, like, I was like, because when we watched the opening of The Dark Knight, we were like, this is amazing, this is amazing, this is amazing. William Fichtner's got a shotgun.
Well, I think we were like, hey, it's that guy.
And he comes out
now
and
I know him as William Fichtner.
Yeah, I was like, do you know whose bank this is? And it was like, yes, love him in this. He does have this look to him as well. It's so sorrowful. And his acceptance of the fact that he has to take the stuff because it's for the greater good of everybody else.
Yeah, and it makes sense as well because emotion would be a really hard thing to hide.
Also, I love the fact that they pull out a polygraph and they're like, we have to test to make sure you're off it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god, why don't they have polygraphs everywhere else then to test other people? Because if a polygraph's good for anything, it can at least detect emotion.
Yeah, the fact that he just goes, Mary. But his whole thing about he's actually made a sacrifice. So honest as well. He's so honest about it. He's like, when I first started feeling it again, it was like, it's a lot. Yeah. Emotions are chaos and you need to have control over them. And the implication I take from that is where he says some of us we allow ourselves to feel some of the time. So I get the impression that not everybody in the resistance is off Prozium all the time.
No,
they're not even saying, we need to get rid of it altogether. They're saying, like, oh yeah, no, emotions do need to be kept in check.
But they've some of us lost do it the ability in the society to regulate their emotions because they're not taught how to do it as children.
So these guys in the underground...
They're having to do it slowly and learn how to regulate themselves.
They're having to take Prozium, take a break, feel emotions, go back on it. And the important ones, like Jurgen at the top, always take it.
Yeah, because they need to be able to make decisions based on logic and safety as opposed to being driven
by emotion.
By an emotion, especially when you're not used to processing those emotions.
What I like about it is in other films or in other kind of concepts where you've got like a drug like this that does that, if you went back on the drug, it would immediately turn you back into the old person you were.
Seems to have to build up.
But I don't think it would because, again, while certain things are tied to emotion, they're not necessarily emotional in and of themselves.
Yeah.
So belief is one of those things. So he believes in the system. And then he stops taking the Prozium, he being Preston, sorry.
He stops taking Prozium, but he understands the importance of the system.
Starts feeling the emotions. But the fact, it's the fact that he's feeling the emotions are what's making him question the system.
Yeah.
But if he goes back on the Prozium, he's not going to automatically believe in the system again because now his beliefs have fundamentally changed.
Yeah, he's seen the hypocrisy in the system.
So, yeah, and it works with Jurgen. And so Jurgen realizes how bad Prozium is, but knows he needs to take it so that he can pass for one of the rest of them to further his own goals. And I like that. It's not cut and dry. It's not straightforward. You know what I mean? And I like that they take the time to kind of work out the nuance in it.
Yeah, and the fact that they've come so far from... This is what, 2071?
2078 or something like that.
Yeah, they're like in the early stages of the 21st century, the Third World War. We're fucking close to it. Some days it seems like fucking toss of a coin.
Yeah.
And that this is their response to it was like, emotions cloud everything. And I'm actually amazed they just didn't blame women, to be perfectly honest, because apparently we're super emotional.
No, if it went down in real life, yes, women would probably get blamed.
And I was saying that to you, I was like, that's such a typical knee-jerk man response was of like, well, it's just too emotional, so we'll just get rid of emotions.
Get rid of it altogether.
Instead of trying to fix it, we'll just get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'd say that's more of a human than specifically a male problem. Is it's a human tendency to be like, trash it all in.
Fuck it. But I like when they're out in the Nethers, because the Nethers is clearly not abandoned.
No.
But when they have the massive raid and they find the dogs.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, they were guarded by women and children, but we put them down.
They were easy to put down. That was one of the things I wanted to talk about as well. Is the certain use of language that portrays some brilliant things in this. Like when he refers to the technicians at the Palace of Justice. You can tell me, or the technicians from the Palace of Justice will get it out of you, i.e. they're torturers. That's
one thing I love, that you can tell that there was a lot of French people working on this, because Palace of Justice is a French term for police headquarters.
But
Paris very famously had quite a large Palace of Justice.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, I think but then later on he talks about the Hall of Destruction.
But I like the fact that they've gussied it all up in these terms, like calling it a palace, calling it a hall, by giving it a place in society.
As an institution. Yeah. But I like that even some of the names, some things like technician and processing hide what's actually going on.
Yeah, taking you for processing, no, you're, the way they fucking execute people.
Other things like calling it the Hall of Destruction, like that would worry a normal person, that there's an institution in the government called the Hall of Destruction, but no, they're fine with it.
I don't understand why they announce in the Hall of Destruction all the materials that they're destroying.
I don't understand why they announce when they're raiding that.
There's been a terrorist attack?
No. When they go for that big raid that you were just talking about before they find the puppies, there's one of those big APCs driving through on a loudspeaker saying, any prisoners are to be shot on sight. Yeah. There are no prisoners are to be taken. You were to kill them.
Anymore.
Yeah, there's no processing. You were just to kill them.
They don't care.
No, they don't care. But
why would you no, but that's the thing is, if you don't have emotion, like the thought process is different then, because you're like, you wouldn't be like, oh, well, we can't let them know we're coming.
Not so much that, but like, it's just
and it's not for like the same purposes point of view. Like, say, Judge Dredd standing outside.
Oh, yeah.
I am the law.
Yeah, you building full of 500 terrorists who are all about to fire at me, you're all under arrest.
Yeah, like, it's not that. Like, it just seems so bizarre, and it's like, it's not even...
Because all that's going to do, like, the guys who are killing people know that they have to kill people, but all it's going to do is make the resistance fight harder.
Yeah.
Because they're hearing, you're not getting taken prisoner or questioned anymore, you're getting shot on sight.
You're going to fight for your life, because your life actually means something to you.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But I always find that when they're talking about the dogs outside, and they're like, we don't understand why people keep these, and then...
Is it for food?
Is it for food? Do they eat them? And when they're like, get the puppy! And it's really funny, because it comes up on subtitles as scuttling.
Yeah.
And he has the pup, and the pup licks him, and you can see that moment in his face of, this is exactly why they have these.
Yeah, well, a bit of confusion as well.
Like, but you can see him, and puppy dog eyes, and the struggle that he has with this, but he understands immediately after his interaction with the dog, this is why they have these. Like, he can't be mean to this thing. He understands.
Oh, but even when he sees them getting killed, he's a bit like, ooh, ugh.
Yeah, no, that is a hard watch. Like, thankfully it's not on screen. There is sounds of it, but like these people, like, no, like, honestly, like, in this society, nowadays, if you found out somebody killed a dog like that, you would be horrified.
Oh, and even the way the guys are talking about, they're like, he's like, Cleric, give it back, I'll finish it off.
Yeah.
I'll finish destroying it. Or
yeah, and it's like now, like, when you look at people now who, like, commit animal abuse, they're generally in the same boat as paedophiles in prison.
Oh, they're going to get jumped and stabbed.
Yeah, because even hardened criminals don't like people who abuse animals. This is a society so far removed from that they don't even understand why you would have an animal. Yeah.
And like it's only 80 odd years in the future from when it was made. You would think that historically they would remember people had pets.
No, but they've wiped out so much propaganda, and there's a weird thing where they authenticate the artwork at the start where you were like, that's fucked up. Why? Like, if they're going to burn it, and
if you're going to burn it, why does it matter if it's
a
real
replica
or not? Because
it's going to evoke the same emotions in you.
Whereas then I thought, well, they might authenticate it so that the people at the top can have the real version of the Mona Lisa, but then they burn it anyway, so that's clearly not why.
Yeah.
So there's a few small things like that. Why bother authenticating the art if you're just going to destroy it? Why have propaganda when you actually don't need it so long as everybody's taking the Prozium?
Yeah.
But then those little things that I don't like, there's so much good in here that like, I'm happy to not write it off, but like, where it's not clear why they might do things like that, you get other things like Partridge at the start being like,
when they burn it all, what will be left?
Oh no! How long do you think before it's all gone? Is what Partridge says at the start.
But then
Preston's response first of, "Oh, we're tight. We're tight on money. We'll eventually get it all." It's like that's not why he was saying that.
Yeah,
but then,
he's like resources are low, but then later on, Brandt's like, what will happen to men like us when there's nothing else to do? It's
the exact same, not the exact same concern, but they're talking about the exact same topic.
Yeah.
And where Partridge is all concerned about, well, it'll all be gone, there'll be nothing left to feel emotional about.
Yeah.
Whereas he's like, when we've gotten rid of all the art and all the people, what jobs will we have left?
Yeah, he's like, what will people like us do? It's like in Priest, when it's like when the vampires were gone, the priests were retired.
Yeah.
And shunned.
Yeah.
Is that what's going to happen to them in this society? But they'll always have a makeshift. There'll always be a boogeyman.
But that's the closest that Brant comes to any sort of emotion.
Yeah. Except for when he's been taken away and he's like, I'm not a sense of... I don't feel, he feels. It's like, well, you're getting pretty damn mad about it, dude.
And when he's thrown
it is very
down,
difficult to just be completely flat and monotone.
Yeah, and it's hard to get. Like I said, there are certain things that aren't emotional, but that are tied to emotion. So it's not like when we're giving out about like fucking David and Prometheus doing things that are clearly emotional.
Yeah.
Or other times where we've seen it, it's like this person's not supposed to have emotion, but
like
they're doing something.
Sam.
Yeah, like Solar Sam, or even...
Although Solar Sam actually was fairly...
I even think
Solar Sam was good. I enjoyed
he wasn't
Solar
bad,
Sam.
Yeah. In Gen V, we even had a bit of it as well when Kate makes Sam feel
nothing. And we were like, but then you wouldn't have any motivation to do anything.
But I think they don't get it perfect in this, but they do a lot better than other films.
Yeah, well, it's a suppression as well. It's a suppression of the state, so it would depend. And when you're doing something like that, how everybody's brain chemistry works different, how everybody processes and senses things works differently. And if you've got a blanket drug, which I guarantee they did not test on any women at all, because why would they?
Probably why there's way more sense offenders.
But it's probably why the women are all sense offenders, because our brain chemistry does work differently.
Well, also,
it would never be an across-the-board blanket cure-all.
It's a woman who's touching the railing in that scene when they're all walking up the steps, but I don't think she's supposed to be a sense offender.
No, I think she's just holding on to the railing for safety.
No, I don't even think it's that. I think
she's just genuinely enjoying it.
I think she's not a sense offender, but I think it is supposed to show that it doesn't necessarily work for everybody across the board.
Women are far more
people
tactile in general. We are a far more touchy, feely. We understand the importance of human touch and things like that, and comfort, and even just being in touch with what's going on around us.
I didn't expect this episode for us to be talking an awful lot about the
feminist tropes.
Well, not even that, but just... No, but it is relevant. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't something that I considered while we were watching it until we started talking about it now.
Yeah, but that's because, honestly, when you look at it, all the authority figures are male. The main protagonist, or the main sense offender that they're dealing with is a woman. And, the first thing, she's not even hiding it in her house. When they break into her house, and he's like, look at yourself! When he throws
spins her around clothes, and he's like, look at you! So she can't see shit, she's dizzy as fuck. He's having a conversation with himself, and she's realised as well with him, and then he's straight away, he's like that mirror frame. She's not even hiding it, it's in full view. She's that brazen. She does have this room full of things, but she doesn't care. She's like, what can you do to me? That room is hidden. The big room they find is hidden. But the
ornate, the big gilded ornate mirror is there.
Yeah, because he's like, that frame is illegal.
Yeah.
Destroy it.
Because it's basically she's also at the same stage of, what can you do to me that's not already been done to me?
Yeah. The only thing that I want is my emotions.
Yeah. And I want to be able to feel and regulate.
You're not going to force me back. And that's the other thing is, it never seems to be a thing of
putting them back
on Prozium.
No, because it won't stop the urges.
And I assume for the same reason that Jurgen is able to take Prozium and continue to be the head of the resistance, the same reason they never bothered to put sense offenders back on Prozium is because now they know what they're missing. Yeah. And eventually...
And they'll always yearn for it, whereas everybody else who's been raised in the society, you don't know what you're missing if you've never had it.
Yeah. And I'm sure there might be one or two people who would be like, oh, actually, do you know what? I prefer Prozium. I don't like feeling all these emotions. But the vast majority of people aren't going to be like that. So that's why it's straight for summary destruction.
When he wakes up from the nightmare about Partridge being burnt and he feels his heart and he's like, oh, fuck, his heart's racing. He's sweaty. He's never had... Presumably you don't have dreams or vivid nightmares or anything like that on Prozium. And even though, yes, it's not the most beautiful view out that window,
Oh, it's still better than what he had, which was just the covered up window.
Yeah.
Where you can't see anything. But light comes in, but that's it.
And a blimp.
But
Always a blimp.
That scene is, I love that scene because he's so frantic trying to get through it. He doesn't even know why. He just knows there's something on the other side of that screen that he has to see, and then he sees it, and it's so beautiful to him. And then he gets panicked by his own emotions.
Because
it's the first time he scares himself, and he nearly goes back on the Prozium, but doesn't.
Yeah, it can be unbelievably overwhelming to feel like, because we see it with small children who don't understand how to verbalize or how to regulate their own emotions and becoming overworked and overwhelmed, and that's something you work through as a child. And as you get older and then in your teenage years again, obviously you have to kind of re-regulate as the hormones come into play. But if you've never had that and you get all of this welling up inside you like overnight, like you wake up and suddenly everything. And
it's the same reason that he falls so hard for Mary, and I don't even necessarily think it is.
But he's fighting himself as well because
Mary. It's just this like
it's a weird fascination because he's starting to experience this, and he needs to know why and how, and because it was an accident for him. Yeah, he didn't do this deliberately. No, everything from after that first dose, which seems to be like wonderfully serendipitous, that
he accidentally breaks it.
He accidentally breaks it, but then when he goes to the central place after his like weird creepy kid, I love the kid. The kid's fantastic. Yeah, that weird creepy kid is he's just really good, but he's good in it.
I had problems with him the first time I watched it because I was like, it's awful convenient at the end when he suddenly turns around and is like, I hear your stuff, but there is a couple of little hints. Yeah, he tests the first thing he does. I saw a kid crying. Should I tell?
He calls him John.
Well, no, but it started.
Should I tell?
First
thing is, should I tell? Crying.
So when you first watch it, you're like, oh shit, that's harsh. The little kid is ready to rat out the other little kid.
But what he's actually doing
is he's checking with his dad.
That kid's in the monastery on his way to becoming a cleric.
Okay, so when you first watch it, you don't think anything of that. Yeah, he's just a little rat bastard kid who's ratting on his classmates.
Yeah, he's just becoming another little fucking Nazi bastard.
And then you see him with his sister, and his sister is like she's playing with her food or something, and he's like, stop that. And she has that kind of half smile.
It's after he has that whole thing about, that's after he
smashes the stuff, yeah.
And he's like, oh, your new partner rang, I told him you would be here. And he's like, yes, you did the right thing. But when he turns to talk to sister, he goes, stop that. And it's really like, you know, when you've got like two kids beating, like, who are just bugging each other, and that's generally the stop it before that, Mom! Yeah. He's annoying me!
And then when Preston is looking at his Prozium applicator thing, he's like, what are you doing? And Preston's like, just checking that you're taking your stuff. And he's like, well, are you satisfied? Yeah. And it's all really creepy. And then, the next scene you see him, he's covering for his dad, hiding the Prozium. Yeah. But when you watch it back, that first thing of him ratting on the kid, he's checking with his dad. Yeah. How hesitant
and
is dad.
And he does call him dad at the end as well.
Yeah, but the first, he's John. And he's like, should I tell him? And straight away, the answer is unquestionably. Yes. So he's like, crap, dad's still on the Prozium. Then he's not telling his sister to shut up or, just being... He's telling his sister, stop. Like, you're playing with your food. That's a fun thing. Stop it, or we will get caught. Yeah. And then, when...
And then she gives the dad the sly smile, but you can kind of get away with it because she's so little.
Yeah.
It can be excused that she's that little bit younger. Maybe they don't have them on as high a dose
when they're little. Yeah, exactly. But then...
Because otherwise, how would you... Because babies... Like, a baby with no emotions, how would babies cry to display certain things and make noises and things like that? Like, you have to know when they're hungry, when they're sad, so it's not until
you wouldn't be able to give an infant that can't talk Prozium because
you would never know.
They die. Yeah, are they hungry? Do they want to poop? Don't know. Oh, it's dead.
A kid crying, like a little baby who's crying and reaching for their stomach, that's how you can tell, like, they have a stomach ache, they'll try and soothe themselves. So presumably she's not old enough yet to be on the full.
Yeah, then when Preston is checking his applicator and he's like, are you satisfied? He says, good night, Dad. Yeah. And it's subtler than I was expecting because the first time I watched it I was like, oh, that comes out of nowhere.
But
that kid,
be better that's a bit able convenient to hide it as well because kids are very good at mimicking behaviours. And you find out that he's been off the Prozium for the last 4 years since their mom was incinerated. They saw their mom being taken. He's been able to, number one, grow into these emotions and be able to process them for what they are. Yeah. But he's also got the added benefit of mimicry. It's easier to copy things from a younger age and hide like that than suddenly being confronted about it in your adult years and trying to hide your behaviours.
Oh, absolutely. One of the things we talked a little bit about Sean Bean at the start there, but to go back to him, they all do actually. Him and Christian Bale in particular do so much good face acting in this, like non-verbal face acting, where like there'll be a line and it's just the look on Sean Bean's face
when he turns around like, to ask him after he takes the injection. He's like, "When will that be?" And then he goes. And when will that be?
No, it's the it does.
Oh, and
he's like Preston says, "Oh, whenever we come back from those, it always reminds me why we do this." And he goes, "It does?" Question mark.
Yeah.
And Preston's like, "What?" And he goes, "It does." I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
But even there's bits earlier on where it's just you can see from the look on his face, even in the first scene, he's different to Christian Bale.
Yeah.
And then Christian Bale starts to have some of those similar faces later on, like even Brandt to a degree, because Brandt has his suspicions but can't come out with them straight away. Like, so he's just watching them a lot, and he's watching for his reactions. He's
quite serene smile as well. It's like this neutral face expression. It was like my customer service face. It's that like automatic.
To me, it's that kind of suck up, I'm real pleased with myself and I know I'm in, Whereas they should all just have, that face when you zone out and people think you're mad at them, but you're not. You're just zoned out entirely. I have resting bitch face really badly. That's what they should all look like. I think Christian Bale does it best.
Christian Bale does the best, but we already knew that from American Psycho and the whole...
Well, that's why they wanted him for this, wasn't it?
Kurt Wimmer wanted him, was not going to be happy with anybody else because of his portrayal in American Psycho.
He gets across the emotionless so well in the early part of the film. Yeah. Like, he does it really, more so than I think anybody else that's supposed to be on Prozium.
But he's supposed to be like the highest ranked...
he's the highest ranking cleric.
But he does that, and he does the breakdown and the trying to hold it together. Like when he's that great bit when they're like, "Oh, well, you won't mind just searching his apartment," and he's like, "No, that's fine." And then you see him legging it
and then trying to I almost thought they were going to put him back on Prozium for that last act, but they don't. I think if they made it in a TV show, they probably would.
Yeah.
But then I suppose actually we haven't really talked about the action itself either.
No.
Action's good.
Action is good. Like, it's got some nice fight scenes in it. Like that. Like, they're all based around this. I love the pistol whip. I know you're not a big fan of it.
I just don't. It's just.
I just like watching all those guys getting bashed around the head.
But they're not in any pain until he smashes their visors.
Yeah, but
they're just getting like. Have you ever had a bike helmet on?
Yeah.
And then somebody walks up and slaps you on the back of the head really hard. Doesn't hurt.
No, it's a bike helmet.
Yeah, so they're not feeling any pain.
And also then when he gets ambushed out in the nethers and the two lads have the shotguns pointed at him.
That's great. And he smacks them around, the two lads just being like, "Oh shit." And I like the choice to have the violence go from real kind of clinical and precise and sterile to more sloppy, bloody. And like we said at the start, everything kind of in this film goes that way. We start to get more vibrant colours. Yeah. You know what I mean? The more he stops taking Prozium, the more we start to see
it's
things
like
as
the world
more
comes
emotional.
Into colour, yeah.
You get more colour, you get more sound, you get more blood.
I think that as well, there's some very subtle things in it, like when they have all the rebels lined up against the wall and it's a glass brick wall. There's something about that glass block wall that really makes me uncomfortable if them all lined up against it. But the way Brandt comes around to watch him leave. Yeah. To see what he's doing.
See what his reaction is. But even like the head of the rebels, the looks that are exchanged between him.
That's Kurt Wimmer.
And but the looks.
And he's like,
don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. We're not worth it.
And that's it. Yeah, he's.
We know you've tried to say you did your best.
You did your best.
We're not worth it. You want to take out, but you might be able to save somebody else.
Yeah, and he can't understand it at first. Because he's not experienced emotions for that long yet. He can't. He just knows it's the right thing to do to help them, and they still need help. So I should try and help them. Whereas he's trying to look at him and be like, "No, look, we're beyond help now. And if you try and help us, you're only going to get yourself killed. Yeah. So that's pointless. You can do more good.
That's when the gun swap happens as well.
You can do more for us if you stay alive. Kind of thing. More for the cause if you stay alive. And again, that's something that I don't think any of the clerics could understand is a sacrifice like that for the greater good. Like, I think there's a lot more subtle in this film than I had remembered.
When you remove emotions from the human experience, what do you end up with essentially?
Well, a society that thinks it's great but is brutal beyond all reason.
And it is. That's I think that's when he starts to realise it as well, when he goes on that raid and he's like just watching people being shot. Completely merciless, like.
You know, when your man, he catches your man who dies in his arms, and Brant's response is, nice grab, cleric.
Good catch. And then when he's walking along, you can hear all the gunfire going off, and he's taking the glove off, and he's walking, feeling the bullet holes.
Yeah.
And then he finds
that room, yeah.
With the snow globes and all this wonderful stuff, and he puts the record
Even the
on.
way the sound comes in there is brilliant, because like we always have subtitles on, and the subtitles are like violins. It's like, I can't hear any fucking violins.
No, it's so...
It's because he's so focused on the snow globe
that
he can't really
he
hear
hasn't
the
even
music.
acknowledged the fact that there's music
I don't
playing.
even think he means to put it on.
No,
because he puts the record on and then he goes to walk away, but accidentally hits the on thing. And it obviously starts off really low and starts to build, and as soon as he's so focused on this snow globe that he doesn't realize it until it's building, and then when it builds he hears this music for the first time and it's so overwhelming he drops the snow globe and starts crying, and it's just I really like
Beethoven will do that to you anyway.
I think it was better than I remembered it being.
A world without art and music and literature,
no thank you,
and creativity is a world I wouldn't want to be a part of. I'd have been one of the fuckers who probably got rounded up and shot in the first go around. Fuck it, my whole existence, like, if you couldn't have, like, I have a whole lot of tattoos and stuff like that.
Well, I'd say
like,
not just that, but you'd stagnate as a society in so many ways. I think I don't
North Korea.
Well, I don't just think... North Korea is different, because that's the point I was going to make. North Korea is actually quite advanced when it comes to technology, but I think in this society, technology would stagnate as well.
Yeah, there's no creativity. You need creative minds to be able to make these breakthroughs and go, aha, this thing.
Yeah, and the curiosity not necessarily an emotion as such, but I would say intrinsically tied to emotion.
Yeah, well, like, it has to pique your interest. So you go, oh, why did it do that?
Why did it do that?
And if you're not curious, and if you're not interested in...
You just go, it didn't work.
Yeah. Like, what was that? The most fascinating thing to a scientist is, why didn't it work?
Yeah, and scientists, don't often have, eureka moments where they suddenly figure something out. It's a, that's weird moment.
Yeah,
and then that fascination with the weird result goes off, and they discover something that they never would have thought of. Whereas if they just stay trying to fix and make that thing work in the first place, it's going to work, but you're not going to get all this other stuff.
No.
There is some advanced technology in the future there, but not a huge amount. They've got like holographic technology. They've got some fancy opening doors, but cars still look the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
guns still look the same.
They're literally incinerating
they're
people
still using
on
polygraphs.
a fucking turbine engine. That's pretty fucking horrific.
It doesn't look massively... Oh yeah, it doesn't look massively different.
No.
Sorry, speaking of the turbines and her getting burnt, that's another thing that I appreciate is at the end, the resistance all still die. Like, Jurgen and all his guys are about to be incinerated. Yeah, they're in the turbine room as all the explosions are going off and Fathers/DuPont has just been killed.
Yeah.
So they're still going to die, but they don't care because their plan has worked. And again, it's that sacrifice that they are happy to...
The concept of their martyrdom has completely...
Well, I think it's because martyrdom is about my life is less important than
this principle
or the greater good for everybody else. Yeah. When you're not willing to kill yourself for an ideal like that, again, you're just going to get a stagnation, I think.
Yeah.
And nobody on the Tetragrammaton side is going to be willing to die for their beliefs in that sense.
No, well, they don't have that emotional response to it.
Mm. And yeah, I think you would get a completely
like when you look at that,
society.
especially when you look at people, say, coming out of cults and things like that, who are so fervent in their belief of the thing that they become so dangerous because that belief will always be there.
And you can't question it either.
No.
You can't question that belief, which is clearly where Tetragrammaton are coming from. Of we're right and you need to take this Prozium, and there is no other alternative.
And you have, like, where are you going to go if you've never seen anything outside of that? You just go, okay, this is normal.
Yeah. Whereas then you've got the resistance who are nice and nuanced and understand that, well, no, we still have a need for Prozium.
Yeah, we understand.
It helps us hide.
It helps us hide, but we don't want that. But we also understand that people can't. If the world came off it tomorrow, society would collapse because people can't deal with this. Or people would start realising just what has been going on.
Yeah, but that's it. Like,
and would be outraged at the treatment and how barbaric it was.
And I think that's Jurgen's thing is it'll be enough to interrupt the supply for a day. Enough people will see. And even if a whole lot more go back on... Because
they seem to take it twice a day.
I think, it's definitely more than once, because it's referred to as a morning interval.
Yeah, well, they have that fun their double watch.
Yeah.
They all have the double watch, and they hit the little stopper, and I think it's a 12-hour.
Probably it would be, 12-hour thing. Yeah, I think that Jürgen again is that bit more practical and realizes that it might not be enough that everybody we're not trying to get everybody off Prozium full stop, because he said emotions are chaos. We'll need to ease people into this. Yeah. But that dramatic shock of one day of not having your Prozium will be enough to kickstart the change, I think, is what he's saying.
People will start to dream. People will start to feel things. You might eat something and realize, because even things like food and stuff like that, like so much of your enjoyment is out of the experience of eating it. Like it just becomes this, I need to feed my body.
I assume they all just eat like a colourless paste that's full of
she looks like she's eating like Cocoa Pops or something like that.
Yeah, because you don't read. I think that's like one of the only times you see anybody eat anything.
Yeah, because like food is like for us, it's a family thing. It's a communal event. It's something that brings people together. It's a breaking of bread.
Like, but everything is emotional.
Yeah,
and that's like there's emotional connections to like almost every single thing we do.
Yeah, everything involves an emotional response.
Even the initial move to Prozium was an emotional response to the human condition of war. And like humans' propensity for war. It was an emotional response to, like you said, instead of how do we fix this, it's let's get rid of it altogether.
We'll just get rid of it.
That's an emotional response. Yeah. And I like that there.
It's the wrong one.
While there is clearly a wrong side and a right side in this film, there's so much grey in it as well.
Yeah, that's what I always liked about this, because I was like, you can't have a society that doesn't feel anything because it wouldn't work. Like there's no... If you don't feel loyalty to something, you're just going through the motions, like, which means you can be very easily swayed.
And I think there's no big happy ever after ending to this, and there's no. It's not it looks like it's just the taking down
of the society.
Yeah, but it's what Jürgen said. It's that disruption, and then we can move forward, hopefully. But again, I think it's that. Absolutes are never a good thing, and even the resistance are saying that. They're like, look, we realized there was a problem, like emotion and our human condition was a problem, and it led us to do a whole lot of wars, but getting rid of emotion altogether is not the way to go about
extremes in any sense of anything. Extremism is never the smart choice, and it doesn't matter what you're looking at. Like people who take things to the extreme or hold extreme beliefs,
and are absolute about them and unwilling to change,
are incredibly dangerous. Bill Hicks has that whole thing about beliefs and ideas. Ideas change the world.
Oh no, that's the dogma thing.
Oh, is that the
an idea can change. A belief is set in stone
and is more dangerous.
And it's harder to change a belief, whereas it's much easier to change an idea you have about something. And you see that as well with Preston. Even when he's off the Prozium, he's like.
He's still fighting it because
but if we kill Father
challenging
and we go back,
his...
if we go back to the old way, there's just going to be war again. And he's like, but there's still war now. It's just different. Look at what the Tetragrammaton do.
We've just gussied it up as this. We're just calling it by a different name.
But I think there was a lot more to this film than I remembered there being.
This film tends to get overlooked an awful lot as well.
Well, it came out around the same time as Minority Report.
Yeah.
And dealing with somewhat similar issues, in as much as Minority Report is about stopping somebody before they do the crime. Yeah, so there's the ethical implication of that, and this also has similar-ish ethical implications. Yeah. It was made by the same producers as well.
And then as well, because we were coming out of like the likes of The Matrix and
there was a lot of that.
But he did end up, Kurt Wimmer went on to make Ultraviolet, where you get more of this gun kata fighting style.
Not as good a film, though.
Not as good a film, though, but he did get to see his vision kind of more
realised.
There's something about this movie that
I was the same. I had never seen it when it came out, and you got me to watch it maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and I enjoyed it at the time. I was like, oh cool, actually this is better than I thought it was going to be.
Because I remembered it for being the fun, like, shooting gun kata one, and and the whole suppression of emotion thing. When I saw this the first time, hadn't really come across. I hadn't really thought about it that much. I was just like, but the more I watched it,
and the more you think about it,
the more I thought about it and realised what was going on with the resistance and all of that, and actually put it together, and things that I was, the language that they use.
I was the same. The first time I watched it, I was like, oh, this is fun. I thought it was just a bad version of Minority Report, but it's actually, it's a fun film. And then when we sat down to watch it the first time, because this might actually only have been my second time watching it,
I
was like, I enjoyed watching it. And as we were watching it the first time, I was like, I have a couple of problems here. Maybe I'm not enjoying it as much as I am. And then we sat down and watched it the second time, and I was thinking about it in between watches and as we were watching it the second time. And even now, I've started talking about things that I hadn't considered in the first 2 watches. And the more you kind of think about this film, there's a lot more in there to pick apart than I had ever thought on first watch.
Yeah, it's that question of, is what's good for society, is that what is good for the individual? Society and the individual can't be taken as 2 separate items. Like in this, they focused on society and preserving society at the detriment to the individual. Yeah,
well, that's why everybody needs to be the same.
And it's that conversation of which is more important, the individual or the village. The greater good. Good old Sean or fucking Hot Fuzz.
The greater good.
The greater good. But they're doing all of that for the greater good and for,
well, both sides are fighting for their perceived version of the greater good.
Yeah, but is the greater good the one that keeps people shackled, or is it...
That's what I was going to say. It's which is the greater good, the one that restricts freedom or the one that allows you freedom, even the negative parts?
Yeah. Or should we be allowed to live and express ourselves?
But I think, that's the other nice thing about this film is you can just watch it as the gun kata thing.
Yeah.
Or you can think as deeply as we have about emotions and people and how they work. And I like that you can take both out of it.
A society like that.
Yeah, I think that's why I really want Equilibrium TV series. Because
what is it in The Simpsons when they have Do What You Feel Day? Yeah. And it all goes to shit.
No, but more just think about The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
But imagine if instead of it being The Handmaid's Tale and, about what that's about, if it was done in much the same, because you've got undergrounds in The Handmaid's Tale and you've got the way they develop all the characters, and that's part of the reason why the story is so good. Well, at least up to about season 5 anyway. And I think they could do something similar with this. You could start it off following him and just having little hints and having him easing into it.
I would just love to know
the clerics and stuff more.
Because that's the one thing I always find really interesting in The Handmaid's Tale is how they got the society to where it is when you come into it. In this, how?
Yeah, well, you could get that with some of the flashbacks and stuff as well. Or not flashbacks, but you could do kind of flashbacks.
Although I say, how could they make people do that? Blah, 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 blah. When you look at all the crazy laws they're passing in the US at the minute in regards to reproductive health and stuff like that. They can literally just brute force their way in.
Oh, that country's going backwards. I don't care.
That country is going to be this country.
I know we have American listeners. I'm sorry, your country's joke. Your country is turned into a joke.
We sit there.
It's just full of craziness at the minute, and nobody seems to want to work with anybody over there. And I know we're not perfect either, but fuck me, America's weird at the minute.
I'm just very glad I don't live there.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, I'd probably have been arrested I don't know how many times by now. It's how did you get to this point in society? Who decided that this was the good thing? Was it just some mad bloke who was like, I have this?
Well, yeah, it was father.
Yeah. It's I'm not a dog, I'm not a fucking lion trainer, but I have this whip.
At a guess, I would say it was a very bad Third World War. And following the war, he rose to power in much the same way that a lot of people do following great wars, where they take advantage of people's misery and how hard done by they feel.
And then use that rhetoric.
And that kind of build a cult of personality around themselves, which they clearly have because he's father.
Yeah.
He's
well, in fairness to Sean Pertwee, I would follow him off a cliff.
No, but you know what I mean? He's it's father and it's father's will. It's this religious context again. Yeah. And I'd say there was very much a cult of personality developed around him, and he did the old Hitler thing of seeing what people were upset by and just capitalizing on it and
yeah, well, I've given you this and it'll release you from all of your strife because you don't have to worry about it now.
But I'd hazard to guess that he grew power through the rhetoric of a demagogue, and then when he had enough power, forced Prozium on everybody.
Yeah.
But it would be cool to see it.
I also have it's just some mad Wernstrummy type scientist in the background who's developed this.
Well, that would be it. You could.
Or no, sorry. Well, I say Wernstrom. You know it would be Professor Farnsworth.
It would be Farnsworth, yeah.
I suppose I can relinquish one of these and still be feared.
It would also be interesting if they you could, again, this would be more of a TV show thing or another film, but it would be interesting to go into the like chemistry and the psychology of how Prozium actually works, or where it first came from.
Is it a blocker in the... I reckon it's probably a blocker into the brain.
But how cool would it be if it was something like we looked at like...
Because how would you'd have to suppress but you couldn't suppress physical feeling and tactile touch, because people would just be like putting their hands in blenders and shit. Like you have to still have like sensory receptors. You have to be able to still feel physically. So and we learn not to do things by pain and fear. So how do you stop people from just like walking in front of traffic?
Do you know what I think it could have been? And again, it's just purely something I just kind of made up. Like, is, you know, the way in genetics we found like protein markers and all these like different genes that do different things, and we're like, cool, if we can like figure out how this gene works, we can give it to like everybody else, and then they can be like this one person.
Yeah.
Did they work out what makes sociopaths, or that type of sociopath that doesn't feel emotion? And then
do they block those receptors in the brain? Because that's what I'm saying, is you'd have to be so selective in what you block out. Because if you block out too much,
no, you're 100% right. Like,
can't function. Like, oh my God, is there some testing facility where there's people who are like just putting their hands in blenders because they don't, or like sit, like, because you need to feel if you're burning or something like that.
But you know the idea of like this idea of like a serial killer gene.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
There's 2 or 3.
I don't want to get into the actual full science of it, but just that as a concept. If they had done something like that and they identified this like kind of sociopathic gene that stops people from, because there is forms of sociopathy where people are like, I just don't feel emotion at all.
Yeah, no, you don't feel empathy for the people, like, it's that sort of thing, yeah.
So in this society, did they discover what it was that makes people like that and decide this is the best way to go? And they've basically given everybody sociopathy drugs.
They've been over there experimenting on an abnormal brain.
Yeah.
Also, what about people who are neurodivergent, who don't...
That's why we need a TV series.
Who don't feel like, in the same way. Could you imagine somebody like a savant or somebody like that not being able to, or somebody who, like, say, who's autistic, who we don't know a lot about how autistic people's brains work. You know, or those people just seem to be defective and removed. Yeah,
that's why we need a TV series. Like, we've barely really touched on like the actual plot itself in this,
but the concept of it is so interesting.
That how much fun and how much interesting stuff could you do with a TV series about it, and not just from a like interesting point of view, but actually from a like
a sociological point
discussing
of view.
The human condition, and actually asking questions with the TV show of why are we the way that we are, and why do we do the things that we do, and would getting rid of some of them be a good thing, or would it be bad at large? And I think it's just I really enjoy this film. And I really enjoy talking about this film.
Yeah, no, from like sociologically it's fascinating, because it's a society that, like, most societies are emotionally driven. Like, you're brought together because you have common purposes. Yeah. And like it leads itself to a lot of like very interesting philosophical discussions.
It does. And they've done a very, very good job of portraying a society at large that doesn't feel emotions. Yeah. Because, as I've said, in this and in the past, it's something that annoys me when you're like, oh, there's an emotionless character who's portraying a ton of emotions.
Yeah, because when you see him moving through, like when he starts to run and he's knocking people over, and nobody's like, hey, you stop. And the dude who gets like actually put on his arse is like, oh, what? I'm on the ground now.
Yeah, he's
like,
not
there's
annoyed.
No, like, he wouldn't be getting up and be like, hey, you fucking prick. Yeah. Like, the way we'd be like, why the fuck did you push me? And people aren't even apologising. Like, he's like full on shoulder charging people, and they're just like,
he must have somewhere to be.
Yeah, like, it's just complete nonchalance.
Yeah. No, it is. It's we could pick apart more and more of this scene by scene if we wanted to, I'd say. Yeah. But we'll have to call it somewhere. So, any final highlights or lowlights? Probably highlights.
The exchange with the perfume bottle. When he's first questioning Mary, and he gives her the perfume bottle. Yeah. Of all the things he took. And it's small. And I love those tiny ones with the dabbers in them. Yeah. And you can tell that it's something that's been so cherished. Yeah. But also, when he's holding it, he's rubbing it. Well, he's rubbing the texture on the lid. He never smells it, but then when you see him later on, at the very end, he has the wife's hair ribbon. He has her red ribbon that she dropped when she was getting arrested.
Is it not supposed to be Mary's? Because Jurgen is like, you take out her ribbon and sniff it when you think nobody's watching.
Yeah, but that's when he has the memory of his wife being arrested.
Yeah.
And she's folded things, and then she drops something and picks it up and very, like, kind of hides it, and then looks at him. That's what she has.
Oh, it's a ribbon, is it?
It's her ribbon.
So that's why he becomes so kind of obsessed with her, with Mary's ribbon. Yeah.
Because that was the only thing that she had that kind of was hidden.
Well, also, I think there is that small implication there of he knew she was a sex offender.
And he didn't care.
And, either didn't care or it wasn't, you know what I mean, wasn't enough for him to, like, report her or anything. And obviously then he defends her when they burst into the house.
That is fantastic. When they're like, this is a, like, legal fucking thing.
Just the way he's destroying those guys as well.
And they're like, no, this is legal. We're here to arrest your wife on sense offence.
Another point, actually, I like as well. The more emotional he becomes, the less comfortable he becomes with killing as well.
Yes.
Like when he's trying to help
starting to value human life.
But when he's trying to help those rebels, there's a lot of non-lethal attacks. There's arm breaks and knockouts, but he could just shoot them all, but he doesn't.
No, and even when he's taking out, I think that's the whole thing with the pistol whip, is he's trying to put them down without hurting them.
It's non-lethal because he spins the guns around. Yeah, it's
beginning to value human life because he sees the worth in it.
And DuPont knows that, which is why he tries to use that against him at the end of being like, "Oh, I'm not on Prozium."
Yeah, I feel things. I'm alive.
For me, I think one of the bits that I really, really like.
Shit.
Oh, he is. He's really good. All the actors in this are really, really good in their respective roles. They all are. Some of them we touched on, some of them we didn't, but they're all really good. But no, for me, I think it's that window reveal that I really like. It's just the crying and then the panic and just the overwhelming emotion of it all. They get that point across so well there.
There is something about Christian Bale running barefoot in pajama pants. I think he can do, like, there's a couple of things, like he does it in American Psycho when he's trying to find the bodies and he's running around all frantic. And there's something about the way that man does fucking panic. He does it really well, and just the kind of very controlled, contained. Oh,
he's an excellent actor.
He is. Christian Bale's absolutely phenomenal actor. But this is one of the ones that I just think, like, you need to watch it.
Yeah, no, it is.
Draw your own conclusions from it. What if you see the things we see, you'll see them. If not, you might see something else we've completely missed. Yeah,
and I mean, I could be wrong. It's just some of the things that I've taken from this film. This is how I choose to interpret some of it. And I think you probably will have certain different interpretations of this film because it is very much open to interpretation because it's about emotion, and our emotions are all very subjective. But yeah, excellent film. Highly recommend.
Louis would be fucked in this society. He feels things too strongly. But
yeah, no, I do. I highly recommend this. It's an excellent film.
It really is, and it doesn't get a lot of love, and it should get a lot more.
I think there was a glut of kind of brightly coloured gun-based sci-fis in the early 2000s, and I think it just got kind of smothered.
It's very stark as well because you have that they're all in blacks or greys or blues until the very end when he's in his shows, his number ones, which are always white, pristine and white, which just makes it such a beautiful foil then to him destroying everybody. Yeah. And they gave him a sword, and it was like, they better use the fucking sword.
Yeah, we had a fucking wooden sword fight. I can't remember the name of them.
The Bokan, and they actually kept breaking them because they were beating shit out of each other. That's
another great little scene as well.
Oh, discussion,
Yeah, well, we're done now. I'm not going back to it. We'll talk for another hour and a half. But yeah, no, excellent film. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Go and watch it again because, like I said, there was stuff I didn't pick up on and stuff that I enjoyed a lot more on subsequent rewatches. So it is one that's fun to rewatch.
Yeah.
And not in you don't fully understand it unless you've watched it 5 times, like Christopher Nolan. Tenet kind of way. Just there's more to pick up on.
Yeah, are actually really fun on the rewatch because when you're watching the fight scenes the first time around, you're like, oh my god, what the fuck's going on? And on the rewatch then you can actually focus in on what he's doing because there's an overhead shot when he's taking out the 6 of them.
Yeah.
And you can see him moving through it and he stops them with the one gun pointing as above, so below kind of.
Yeah, that's one of the things I think is a bit cheesy, but
when he finishes in the kata form, I was like, yes, got him! Fuck him up!
No, I really like it.
And then he picks up the dog and walks off.
The fight with DuPont at the end.
Well, when he kills Brandt and DuPont is like,
shit. Well, I like that Brandt's death is just nearly just like
it's so cocky.
Quick, and but because you're expecting a big there's going to be a big fight because he's been following them and it's one-upping each other.
DuPont when they're blocking.
Yeah, no, I love that's what I'm saying. I love it because I love the choice that Brant just gets killed straight away.
Yeah,
and then that thing, that fight. No, but that fight that they have it's a martial arts technique as well. But it's like
the blocking. Yeah.
Well, no, it's a conditioning technique that I used to do it when I was in jiu-jitsu as well. Is where you
is that the thing where you use like the post with all the. It looks like a hat stand.
Yeah. No, that's conditioning for actual like physical kind of conditioning. This it was just called another type of conditioning. But basically, you would stand the way they kind of are, with your wrists kind of touching, and the idea is that you have to get a strike in on the other person's face, but you can't. Your hands have to stay touching the whole time. So it's constantly about that sort of the way the guys are moving in this, and it's a great little gun battle at the end because it's so up close.
Yeah, because they're just blocking and blocking and blocking. Then he starts. I think he get him by the hand and starts to get him to fire off rounds. No,
it's just that when one of them thinks that they're close enough to get a shot off, they shoot, but they're missing. No, yeah, I really like that one as well. But no, need to wrap up. That was Equilibrium. It's fucking excellent. Go and watch it. Go and rewatch it. It's class.
Yeah.
As ever, thank you for joining us, guys. We will be back next week with who knows what, but that's the way things go here.
Yep.
In the meantime, if you want, you can head back and check out some of our previous episodes, or you can check out our other podcast, Monorant's The Boys, because The Boys Season 4 is coming out soon, and you need time to catch up, so go and listen. And if you want, you can come and chat with us on Twitter. Tell us we were wrong about this episode or delve way too deeply into it. You can tell us that on Instagram as well, but I probably won't see it. That's Instagram of monorants_that_boys, or you can send your own rants to monorantspodcast@gmail.com. And we'll catch you all next week.
Slán.
Bye bye.